Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that can be both scary and incredibly powerful: vulnerability. Now, vulnerability isn't exactly the first thing that comes to mind when we think about self-improvement, right? We often associate it with weakness or even showing our cracks. But what if I told you that embracing vulnerability is actually the key to unlocking deeper connections, fostering personal growth, and becoming the best version of yourself? Intrigued? Throughout this video, we'll explore the power of vulnerability in self-improvement. We'll break down what vulnerability really means, why it's so important, and most importantly, how to overcome the fear that often holds us back from being truly open. By the end of this video, you'll be equipped with practical tips and exercises to start embracing vulnerability in your own life. So, buckle up and get ready to unlock a whole new level of self-improvement. What is vulnerability? All right, let's unpack this concept a little further. What exactly is vulnerability? At its core, vulnerability is the willingness to be open and authentic, even when it means showing our emotions, imperfections, and insecurities. It's about letting our guard down and allowing ourselves to be truly seen by others. Now, vulnerability is often confused with weakness, but there's a crucial difference. Weakness implies a lack of strength or power. Vulnerability, on the other hand, takes courage. It takes guts to be open and honest, especially when it comes to our vulnerabilities. There are also different layers to vulnerability. We can be emotionally vulnerable by sharing our feelings, both positive and negative. We can be socially vulnerable by admitting our mistakes or asking for help. And sometimes, vulnerability can even be physical, like expressing our affection or simply existing authentically in our bodies. The truth is, we all experience vulnerability in different ways, but the fear of vulnerability, the fear of rejection, judgment, or failure, that's something most of us share, and that's exactly what we'll tackle next. Why this fear exists and how it can hold us back from reaching our full potential. Why embrace vulnerability? Okay, so we've established that vulnerability takes guts, and it's definitely not weakness. But why exactly should we embrace it? Why put ourselves out there and risk potential discomfort? Well, the benefits of vulnerability for self-improvement are actually quite remarkable. First and foremost, vulnerability fosters deeper connections. Think about it. True connection thrives on authenticity. When we open up and share our vulnerabilities, it creates a space for others to do the same. This fosters trust, empathy, and a sense of belonging in our relationships. Vulnerability also allows for authentic self-expression. Imagine constantly holding back your true self for fear of judgment. By embracing vulnerability, we free ourselves to express our emotions, needs, and desires openly. This authenticity allows us to attract genuine connections and fosters a stronger sense of self. But perhaps the most powerful benefit of vulnerability is its role in personal growth. By sharing our struggles and vulnerabilities, we open ourselves up to feedback and support. It allows us to learn from our mistakes, build resilience, and ultimately become the best versions of ourselves. And let's not forget the inspiration factor. When we witness someone else embrace vulnerability, it can have a ripple effect. It shows us that it's okay to be imperfect, that strength lies in authenticity, and that true connection is possible. So next time you see someone being vulnerable, take note. They might just be inspiring you to do the same. Why embrace vulnerability? All right, so we've been exploring the amazing benefits of vulnerability for self-improvement. It fosters deeper connections, allows for authentic self-expression, and paves the way for personal growth. Sounds pretty great, right? But let's be honest. Embracing vulnerability can be downright scary. The fear of rejection, judgment, or failure. It's enough to keep us stuck in our comfort zones. So, how do we overcome this fear and start showing up as our true selves? First, let's acknowledge that these fears are totally normal. We're all wired for self-preservation, and vulnerability feels inherently risky. But the key is not to eliminate the fear entirely, but rather to learn to manage it. Here are some practical tips to help you overcome the fear of vulnerability. Start with self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Recognize that everyone has vulnerabilities, and it's okay to feel scared. Practice self-acceptance. You're worthy of love and connection just as you are. Accepting your imperfections is a crucial step towards embracing vulnerability. Set boundaries. Vulnerability doesn't mean oversharing or exposing yourself to people who don't deserve your trust. Learn to set healthy boundaries and choose who you choose to be vulnerable with. Find your safe space. Identify the people in your life who make you feel comfortable and supported. These are the people you can start practicing vulnerability with. Remember, progress takes time. Don't expect to become a vulnerability superhero overnight. Start small, celebrate your victories, and gradually open yourself up to the power of authenticity and connection. Vulnerability and action exercises to try. All right, everyone, so we've talked about the power of vulnerability and why it's such a valuable tool for self-improvement. But knowing something and actually doing it are two different things, right? So let's get practical. In this section, I'm going to share some actionable exercises you can try to start embracing vulnerability in your own life. Remember, vulnerability is a journey and progress takes time. Be gentle with yourself and celebrate every small victory. First things first, let's get introspective. Grab a journal or a piece of paper and take some time to reflect on your own fears around vulnerability. What are you most afraid of when it comes to opening up? Is it rejection, judgment, being misunderstood? Write down these fears and anxieties. Understanding them is the first step to overcoming them. Next, let's try a communication exercise. Think about someone you trust deeply, a friend, family member, therapist, someone who creates a safe space for you to be vulnerable. Schedule some time to talk with them and choose a topic you might find slightly uncomfortable to discuss. It could be something related to your fears from the journaling exercise, a challenge you're facing, or even a dream you haven't shared with anyone. The key here is to be open and honest. Share your true feelings and see how it feels to express yourself authentically. Remember, this trusted person is there to listen without judgment. Now remember those small victories, celebrate them. Did you manage to share a piece of yourself you usually keep hidden? Did you have an honest and open conversation with someone you care about? Acknowledge these accomplishments, no matter how small they may seem. Every step towards vulnerability is a step towards growth. Wrap up and action steps. All right, everyone, we're nearing the end of our exploration of vulnerability and its role in self-improvement. Let's recap the key takeaways. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the courage to be open and authentic, even when it's scary. Embracing vulnerability fosters deeper connections, allows for genuine self-expression, and paves the way for personal growth. Of course, the fear of vulnerability is real, but by practicing self-compassion, self-acceptance, setting boundaries, and finding safe spaces, we can begin to overcome these fears and open ourselves up to the power of vulnerability. Now, the question remains, how can you start implementing this in your own life? Action steps. Journaling. As mentioned before, journaling is a fantastic tool for self-reflection. Use it to explore your fears of vulnerability and identify areas where you can start opening up. Small victories. Celebrate every step you take towards vulnerability, no matter how small. Did you share your opinion in a group meeting? Did you confide in a friend about a personal struggle? Acknowledge your progress. Seek support. Don't be afraid to seek support from a therapist, counselor, or trusted friend. Talking to someone who can provide a safe space for vulnerability can be incredibly helpful. Start small. You don't have to spill all your deepest secrets right away. Begin with small acts of vulnerability, like sharing a personal story with a colleague or expressing your true feelings to a loved one. Remember, vulnerability is a journey, not a destination. Be patient with yourself and celebrate your progress along the way. The more you practice vulnerability, the more comfortable it will become. And who knows, you might just unlock a whole new level of connection, growth, and self-discovery. Thanks for joining me on this exploration of vulnerability. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content on self-improvement. And don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences with vulnerability in the comments below. Until next time, take care.